The long-awaited and way overdue video. Finally, to go full-time or part-time? That, my friend, is the million-dollar question. I want to preface this video so that you understand that either one of these options, whether it's full-time or part-time, or whichever component of the Army you choose, are excellent and phenomenal options as long as they're meeting your needs, wants, and desires. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down to you some of the key pros and cons to joining, whether it's full-time or part-time, and some things to consider when going through your decision-making process if you're trying to weigh out either one of these options. But with that being said, stick around to the end of the video so that you can make a well-informed decision. Here we go! What's up, everybody? Welcome back here to Team Swartz, and if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. Here I post a ton of Army basic training tips, recruiting, and other Army videos, to include going live weekly to address your most desired questions and concerns, typically on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that being said, my name is Sergeant First Class Swartz, your local New York Army National Guard's full-time recruiter and part-time drill sergeant. With that being said, I have over 21 years of service with almost 18 years worth of recruiting experience. I am drill sergeant qualified, so I have a lot of knowledge to be able to help you make a well-informed decision throughout the enlistment process and to prepare yourselves both mentally and physically for Army basic training. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, I get asked this question all the dang time. And I actually did a video quite a few years ago, Guard versus Reserve, all the pros and cons and the similarities and differences. Phenomenal video, hands down the best video on YouTube to date. I'll link it down below in the description area for you to peep at later. But I said I was gonna create a video, I finally did it. And if there's anything in this video that you feel that you want me to go a little bit deeper into it, let me know down in the comment section. I'll make it happen for you. Before we begin, let me just get this out of the way. When I say full-time, I'm referencing active duty or active duty Army or regular Army. So that's what I mean by full-time. If I say part-time, I'm referencing the Army National Guard, the Guard, or the Army Reserve, okay? So that's the difference. Active duty is full-time, wherever Big Army wants to send you worldwide for 2 to 4 years on average, full-time, right? And then the Army National Guard and the Army Reserve being part-time, meaning that at time of enlistment or signing your contract, you're agreeing to work a minimum of 1 weekend per month and 2 weeks out of the year. More to follow. So now that we got that out of the way, let's begin. So I get asked this question all the time. Sergeant Swartz, should I go active duty or reserve or guard? And I always I hate this question because it's like comparing apples to oranges, as they say, right? They're not comparable. One is, they're both totally different. One is full-time, like I said, the other one being part-time and adding to wherever it is that you got going on in your life now while serving part-time with us. So I'm going to break down to you active duty full-time versus reserve guard, which is part-time, and using this analogy that I like to use to express the military, right? Think of your life as a hallway. And each door in this hallway represents various opportunities that you can leverage in your life. When you go active duty full-time, most, if not all, those doors of opportunity are going to be closed off to you. Why? Because when you go big Army or active duty full-time, that branch of service, or in this case, regular Army, wants you to focus on regular Army things. If whatever you do outside of the Army, whether it be a hobby, a side hustle, college classes, typically online, so on and so forth, right? If it somehow detracts your efforts in your day-to-day tasks while being in regular Army, whether it's impacting your sleep cycle, your focus, your work ethic, so on and so forth, Big Army has the ability to tell you to cease and desist that activity, whether you like it or not. So you have restrictions. So yeah, you can do things, you can try to work it, but it's gonna be very challenging to do anything outside of the Army. So that's why I say most of those doors are gonna be mostly closed to you versus if you're in the Guard or Reserve, meaning part-time military service. The reason being is because it is convenient in the sense that it is part-time, where you're not focusing 100% of your efforts on the military. So you have 28 days on average every month to do whatever it is that you want. So those doors of opportunity, meaning side hustles, hobbies, college, what have you. Those doors are open to you. And as long as you can manage your life around your drill schedule for each monthly drill that you do within the Guard or Reserve, you could do whatever you want. There are very little limitations. As long as whatever it is that you're doing outside of the Army is legally, ethically, and morally correct, you're in charge of your life. That is the flexibility of being part-time in the Guard or Reserve without that full-time commitment and having a lot of the great benefits of being a service member. So let's talk about active duty Army or the regular Army, right? And like I just said, depending on your ambitions, if you have an entrepreneurial spirit or you want to do things outside of the Army while being in full-time in regular Army, you're gonna see that being a possible con to your potential lifestyle that you're looking for. But don't get me wrong, there are a lot of upsides on going into the regular Army, okay? And here are some of them. In my humble opinion, these are some of the upsides of going active duty. Depending on your rank at time of enlistment or at the time that you sign your contract or by the time that you ship out to Army basic training, when you're in training full-time or when you're regular Army active duty, your monthly salary will range between $1,733 to about $2,263, okay? And at first, you're gonna be like, that's not a whole lot of money. And you're right, it's not. However, you do not have to spend money on rent, medical, dental, vision. All those benefits are 100% free. Everybody loves free dollars. So with that being said, in the future, I'm gonna be posting a video about these said benefits. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything. Another benefit of going active duty regular Army is the fact that you are gonna be doing your MOS or your military occupation specialty, AKA job skill, on a full-time basis, and throughout the rest of your active duty time, everything else will be learned through OJT, on the job training, and you will become very proficient within your MOS. If you do a minimum of a 3-year enlistment contract while on active duty, you will earn 100% of the post 9/11 GI Bill, which is essentially a scholarship program that pays a ton of money towards college or higher education or a trade school of choice. All right, that is a phenomenal benefit. All right, but there is a catch, and I'll get to that in just a moment. If you decide to make active duty regular Army your career and you do a minimum of 20 years, at that time when you go to retire, the benefit is that you will receive your retirement pension immediately after you are discharged from active duty as a retiree. With all soldiers signing up or enlisting now, you are enlisting into the new retirement system called the blended retirement system. What that is, it's very similar to a 401k where you invest into your retirement, okay? And you're guaranteed 40% of your base pay by the time that you retire, with the potential of earning over 50%. So if you decide to invest at least 5%, the Army's gonna match that other 5%, bringing up to a minimum of a 50% potential in retirement. With that said, I have a office partner, Sergeant Wu, that I plan on bringing on here at some point to give y'all a finance class on how to leverage and maximize your benefits and your pay and your investments and all that stuff into the Army, whether you're full-time or part-time, to set yourself up for greater success post-military service. One last upside or possible downside, depending on your mindset: while you're in active duty, you will be forced to conduct PT or physical training Monday through Fridays every single morning before you start your day. So that's pretty cool. You're forced to be fit and you're getting paid to do it, so why not? Say less, fam. There are other pros to going active duty in the Army, but to keep this video as short as possible so I don't drag this out for an hour, I'm gonna move on to some of the downsides of going active duty regular Army. One of the biggest downsides, in my humble opinion, about going active duty regular Army, when you go active duty, they're sending you around the world regardless of the location of choice, okay? unless you're part of that new thing, right? But with that being, that's something else. I could do a video about that later, but Big Army wants you to focus on big Army things. And as previously described, if whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's a side hustle, college, a part-time job, hobbies, it doesn't matter. It cannot detract you from your performance on your day-to-day tasks. If they feel that whatever it is that you're doing outside of the Army is hindering your performance and you're not performing to the level of expectation or what the bar that you've set for yourself, the Army can tell you to cease and desist that activity, and they have every legal right to tell you that because the Army owns your rear end, okay? So those are some of the restrictions, the biggest restrictions, honestly, in my opinion, while serving full-time on active duty in the regular Army. You don't have much flexibility to do things outside of the big Army. Not saying that you can't do these said activities, just know that when you're active duty, you're gonna have limitations and restrictions dictated by your command versus if you went guard or reserve, which is part-time with that flexibility. As you can tell, being active duty is not that flexible. Another huge downside, in my humble opinion, is if you're going active duty and you're one of those, I want to join the active Army to maximize the college money that I could use to go to college and go to college full-time and graduate with an aggressive goal by a normal time, taking on 12 or more credits per semester, you know, possibly in person like a normal college student would. I'm sad to say, but that's not gonna happen. 99.9% of the Army bases or facilities are nowhere near a college campus, and even if it was, you're gonna need to get permission through your command to do so, which good luck getting that done, all right? Secondly, you're gonna be doing majority, if not all of your college courses online, whether it's asynchronous or through Zoom, what have you, right? You'll be lucky to take one, and if you're lucky, depending on your MOS and or your unit of assignment and what their op tempo is like, you're probably gonna be taking 1 to 2 classes realistically while you're on active duty full-time while going to college. So if you're looking to graduate, you know, as a normal student in 2 to 4 years, depending on the degree plan that you're going for, that's not happening, all right? You can go to college, they will pay for it, but it's not gonna happen in a fast time frame that you have in your mind. So I'm not saying it can't be done, I'm just saying it's gonna take you a little bit longer to get it done. So if you're looking to graduate sooner rather than later, then active duty might not be a good fit for you. Moving right along to the Army National Guard and the Army Reserve. Going guard or reserve will provide you the most flexibility with also great benefits. Your Army National Guard and your Army Reserve salary for working part-time, that 1 weekend per month, right, is going to range from $231 to $302, depending on your rank at time of enlistment moving forward. As you progress throughout the military, same thing like active duty, the longer you're in, the more rank you earn, the more money you will make. As an Army National Guard soldier or being in the Army Reserve, when you ship out to your individual active duty for training, meaning your basic training and your job training through AIT or OSUT, your one station unit training, anytime you're on orders for more than 30 days, you will receive active duty pay as previously described earlier when I was talking about active duty salary. As previously described, in the Guard and the Reserve, you're working a minimum of 1 weekend per month and 2 weeks out of the year, which means unlike active duty, you cannot live off of your drill pay that 1 week in a month. So in the Guard and the Reserve, you better have a career or at the very least a full-time job, or let's say you are a college student bumming it off of mommy and daddy while you're attending college full-time, which is perfectly fine. Use and abuse your parents for as long as possible. Sort of. I think you get it. Both the Guard or Reserve are excellent if you have a career or a full-time good paying job or bumming off your parents to focus on your college so that you could finish and do all that great and glorious stuff before you fly out the nest and live your life and do adult-like activities, okay? You get the best of both worlds. You live your life as you see fit, as long as it's legally, ethically, and morally correct, do whatever your heart desires while you serve part-time and have the ability to be able to, support your states, your communities, and your country in times of need while serving part-time. You can't ask for anything better than this. Although it is not active duty, you could go to work full-time and part-time, you can go to school full-time and part-time, you could travel the world and do all that great glorious stuff, or the combination of thereof. You could do your side hustles, you could be an up-and-coming entrepreneur, whatever your heart desires, because the sky's the limit. Being part-time in the Army Reserve or the Army National Guard will afford you the ability to focus 100% of your efforts on college while serving simultaneously. I'm gonna get some flack for this from the USAREC or active duty recruiters, but I don't give an F because I know that I'm 100% right. But this is the only time that I will ever tell you that one is better than the other. The Army National Guard is hands down your best option to serve part-time and go to college full-time and get up to 100% of your tuition fees paid for. The National Guard is your best bet. And here is why. Shameless plug here, but unlike the Army Reserve or any other reserve branch of the military, you will only receive up to $4,000 through the federal tuition assistance as a part-time service member in the reserve component, to include the Army National Guard. So the federal tuition, again, is only $4,000 per year, which won't even cover one semester as a full-time student at a community college here in New York City. That is horrible. With that said, the National Guard can pay up to 100% of your tuition assistance through the state tuition assistance program. Each state will vary, so I will conveniently leave a link for you down in the description area for you to peep at. You will go to this website, you will plug in your state, and it will give you a summary of what your state offers through the state tuition assistance program for the National Guard. For example, the New York Army National Guard will pay up to 100% to all CUNY or SUNY colleges. That means all community and state colleges / universities. 100% free. You won't even need to touch your federal tuition because we are gonna pay the tab. And if you're receiving financial aid, this is the cherry on top. If you are receiving financial aid, which pays in the middle of the semester, we pay for the classes. Once we get confirmation that you've passed all your classes at the end of the semester, whatever that dollar amount is that your school received through financial aid will get kicked back and reimbursed to you, whatever that dollar amount is. And if you're not in New York, I highly suggest check out that website down below and get in contact with your local National Guard recruiter so they can break it down to you specifically how it has worked. I guarantee you that a USAREC recruiter is going to go down there in the comment section and be like, yeah, but it's first come, first serve, and blah, blah, blah. I've been recruiting for almost 18 years. July of 2022 will make 18 years in recruiting, and New York Army National Guard had never had that problem. I only recall one state and one state only in the last 2 decades that for 1 month had an issue with paying tuition, and it was rectified and no issues since. So do not let your active duty recruiter tell you otherwise. Down below in the description is the video, National Guard Myths Debunked, where I school the USAREC active duty recruiters on their lies, telling applicants that we are 100% state funded and that we have no money and yada yada yada. Definitely go check out that video so that you are in the know if you're weighing out your options, whether you're going active duty reserve or guard. It's a good video. I know because I was in it and I teach you something. Oh, I almost forgot. So in the New York Army National Guard, right, and this is probably the same for other states, but your local guard recruiter can let you know, we can combine the state tuition assistance, which at last time I checked about a week ago was $7,070 per year through the state tuition assistance. You can combine that with the $4,000 through the federal tuition, which makes it equivalent to $11,070 that you can use towards a private university or college, which is a hell of a lot more than $4,000. Warning, do not let your active duty / reserve recruiter tell you that the Army Reserve will pay 100% of your tuition. If you're taking one class per semester, maybe. But as a full-time student, they will not pay 100% of your tuition, okay? With that said, all right, again, state tuition assistance is strictly a Guard thing because the Reserve is strictly federal. The Army National Guard is state and federal, okay? I cannot stress that enough. We have a local recruiting station blatantly lying to their applicants who are wanting to go reserves, telling them that they're gonna pay 100% of their tuition fees, all right? Leveraging the post 9/11 GI Bill and the federal tuition. Again, the federal tuition is only $4,000. As a reservist, unless you've served active duty for more than 6 months to 3 years, you're not gonna qualify for the post 9/11 GI Bill or the yellow ribbon benefits. They are lying to you. That debunked video I mentioned earlier will explain everything to you, include resources through the official websites, the VA, GoArmy.com, and some Army Reserve link. They're all down in the description in that video. So when it comes to health, dental, and all those benefits, unlike active duty, you're not gonna get it for free in the Guard or Reserve. You're gonna have to opt in and pay for it if you want it. With that being said, health benefits are through the TRICARE Reserve Select program that you can opt into individual coverage for yourself at $50 a month, but it caps out at $250 per month. You can have more than that, right? As many more family members as you want that you can add to it, that's whatever, but they're gonna cap it out at $250. So that's the maximum you'll pay for family coverage. That may or may not sound like a big deal to you, but we get a lot of prior service individuals coming in off active duty that want to do Guard or Reserve for this benefit. Keep this in mind. As a 19-year-old in 2001, right, I was paying half of my health benefits premium monthly at $180 per month. My employer was paying another $180, all right? I don't do math in public, but that's over $300 a month. As a healthy 19-year-old with no medical issues, no smoking, and obviously at 19 I wasn't drinking, right? But that was expensive as hell, all right? So $50 a pop as a single soldier, that's awesome. Even at $250 for family coverage, you will not find another program out there unless you're getting public assistance. You can't match it. It's equivalent to like a Blue Cross, Blue Shield coverage, whatever that may be. I hear that's pretty good. United Concordia is the contracted company now for our dental, and you're gonna pay as an individual soldier no more than $14 a month, and for family coverage, no more than $34. And this is a steal, all right? They give you 2 biannual cleanings, 1 annual checkup with the x-rays and everything, and they pay up to 40 to 60% towards any oral surgery or what have you. So to put it into perspective, I had 4 wisdom teeth pulled, a cap and crown, and a root canal, and I paid no more at that time, no more than $360 in total. So that is a phenomenal benefit. Currently, there is no part-time reserve vision benefit that I'm aware of. I scoped out the VA website. I couldn't find anything. I hear they have something in the works, but nothing has dropped as of yet. So stay tuned. For anything that you're interested in learning more about, I have all the official links down below in the description area for you to do your research. So what are some of the downsides to being part-time in the Guard or Reserve? Unfortunately, it is part-time, right? So PT or physical training is not going to typically be done during your weekends, because they don't want you to get injured and have to do an LOD, a line of duty, meaning that they don't want you to get injured and have to get compensated by the Army and the government, right? So PT generally does not happen during your weekends in most units. With that said, PT is done on your time. So you're gonna have that self-discipline and self-motivation to keep fit throughout your Guard and Reserve contract. Unlike active duty, you're not doing it full-time, like meaning that you're not being forced to do it, like force-fed stuff down your throat Monday through Friday like you would active duty. So your PT is done on your own, at your home, in the gym, what have you. So you better have some good self-discipline because it's gonna be required. Another downside, depending on your mindset, right? And when you decide to join the Guard or Reserve, for retirement purposes, unlike active duty, you're not going to be able to collect your pension at the time that you retire from the Guard or Reserve. You're gonna have to wait until age 60 to begin collecting your retirement pension and expect it to be 50% less than what you would have made if you were active duty. I'll do a more detailed video on this in the future. If you're interested in this, definitely comment down below, make this video, and I will make it happen if I get enough people. If not, I'll just do it whenever. So let's think of it as a double-edged sword, right? So I just explained the retirement pension at getting and receiving at age 60 as being like a downside. Let's flip that and make it an upside. For example, if you work for another city, state, or federal job, you're earning a second retirement and working both the Guard Reserve and that other career with the city, state, or federal government, right? Simultaneously. So by the time that you retire from both within 5 to 10 years, depending on how old you are at the time that you enlist and all that great glorious stuff, you're potentially gonna earn 2 pensions around the same time when you retire, thus getting even more money and benefits at time of retirement, right? And you also double dip. So in that city, state, or federal job, you're often gonna get 20 to 30 days of paid military leave on top of your normal vacation time and sick leave, meaning that you could use your military leave days on your drill weekends or your annual training or the combination of thereof, meaning that you're gonna get paid by the Army and your civilian job simultaneously at the same time, thus the term double dip. Huge benefit for many. We have a lot of NYPD, FDNY, corrections officers, and all that stuff that all leverage that feature and benefit of being a part-time soldier or service member while serving another city, state, or federal job. Now we're into the more interesting part of the video, and we're gonna go over my recommendations and what I feel you should consider when going through your decision-making process. So in conclusion, whether you go Army National Guard, Army Reserve, or active duty, again, each one of these options are phenomenal, great options. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. We are all good. Start with your why. Why do you want to join? What are your goals that you want to achieve, and which one is going to assist you in reaching those goals better, faster, and cheaper? Know your freaking deal breakers. What is more important to you in highest priority to least priority, and know what you're willing to compromise on to help you get what you want. Talk to service members who previously served in the active Army, Army Reserve, or the Army National Guard. You can talk to social media influencers like myself to share our experiences and all that stuff, but take it with a grain of salt, because any service member, whether they're currently serving now or previously served, are either gonna love it, hate it, or be indifferent. Typically, the ones that hated their experience is because their recruiter, for 2 reasons. Their recruiter sold them a certain level of expectation that was not delivered, right? Or, same thing, but the applicant, now soldier, did not do their due diligence and research what it is that they were about to get into, which leads me into do your research. Go to the official websites, goarmy.com and nationalguard.com. Deep dive into those websites, know what it is that you're looking to achieve and how each one of these can help you get them, right? And write down every single question and concern that you may have to verify and confirm with your assigned recruiter. But again, take that with a grain of salt, because whatever your recruiter shares with you should be able to be backed up through official resources. Make a well-informed decision. For the love of God, please join for your reasons and your reasons alone. Don't worry about what I tell you. Don't worry about what your recruiter tells you or what Johnny Snotnose from down the block tells you. You do you, boo-boo. You do what's best for you. You only have one life to live, and that's it. Make the best of it. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I or anyone else around you has to say. Make a decision. Make a well-informed decision, because this is going to impact the next few years of your life. If you made it to this point of the video, you are the real deal, and I appreciate you. Hit that like button, because it does help the algorithm, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell and all notifications so you don't miss anything. And with that being said, May the Swartz be with you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey guys!